coming up next week. Next month. But I'm little old AI on the Sixers. I got the Sixers on my back, and I got to deliver. But for that one weekend, all of us dope players from all across the league or across the different across the country, we get together and we celebrate each other because we know how equally dope we are. And I'm biased. I don't know if anybody I know. My brother Pat, you said you're from Detroit, right? Yeah, we got our biases. This gonna be the one weekend that it's Isaiah or Michael off the backboard, but back doing playoff times is on, man.
I got you.
One of my greatest childhood memories was when we finally swept y'all in 4 games in 1991.
Who's y'all?
The Pistons. We're talking about the Pistons.
Okay. Oh, I forgot Chicago and Detroit. Okay, I see it there. We had
love for Dominique. Dominique should have won the dunk contest in '88, but
hey, we not no revisionist history here. But thanks, brother. No, I got you. Sarge.
Yes, sir.
Why did you decide to join the check-in today?
I need to be more consistent with our interactions and whatnot. And I do appreciate what you do for, just people in general. You know what I'm saying? When you talk about, people talk about, heroes of the community, they think of police officers, firemen, governor, things of that nature. Probably not governors as of recently, but you get what I'm saying.
I got you.
And I don't think enough people talk about the unsung heroes, you know what I'm saying? Like the corner store, the corner stores that, let people get away with certain things that they normally shouldn't because of situations and predicaments that they're in, or therapists and psychologists that help them out. It's them little things that, inadvertently end up bonding a community more tightly together than, let's say, the macrocosm of the performative acts that we see in politicking nowadays. You know what I'm saying? A whole bunch of talking and not enough doing, or a whole bunch of words that don't mean anything. Everybody just talking in circles. So what you're doing with not only shining light on, men's mental health, but establishing a community where men know that it's okay, like how a brother said earlier, to kind of let that armor down. You know what I'm saying? It's been ingrained in us for so long, so many generations, to keep that armor up, and that armor ends up degrading our physical health, our emotional health, our mental health, to the point where we die years before we're supposed to because of the cortisol levels just flooding our brains and just weakening our immune systems, weakening our structure, and the families inadvertently end up feeling that pain, so you're kind of undoing, or you're challenging the notion or the idea of all of these, ingrained concepts that has been taken away more than it's been providing. You know what I'm saying? And I'm grateful that you put this out, and that we can be a part of this together,
Absolutely, Sarge. And Sarge is representing, is our representation. He's serving in the United States Army. So we always thank you for your sacrifice and your service, bro. All right. So I want to get everyone involved. So here's the question. What's been taking up the most space in your mind lately? What has been taking up the most space in your mind lately? Now, I'm trying to call on, if you don't want to share, I got it, but, if you do want to share, I'd like to hear from you. You don't have to turn your camera on, but if you do want to share, if you do want to answer the question, please unmute your mics. So the question is, to the group, what's been taking up most of the space in your mind lately? And I'll start off. What's been really taking space in my mind is generational wealth. As my man, I think it was my man Milton said about black don't crack. I'm 61 years old, be 62 years old, and God willing in August. So I'm a proponent about that black don't crack. And, that's not racism, that's facts. That's facts. But, I am so focused on building a generational legacy, and I'm so focused on bringing men together so that we can, want to expand my practice. I've been in practice for 6 years now, and a lot of you I've seen on the other side of these Zoom calls where it's just you and I. So I thank you all who have either been a client or still a client that you came to support me. So that's what has been it. It's just most of my space in my mind lately has just been about, creating a legacy to leave to my children. All right. Anybody else want to share?
Yeah, I'm gonna take this one, Scott.
All right. What's up, cuz?
Hey, what's up, cuz? I tried to get in the other ones and I didn't take the mute off in time, but it's all good. One of the things that's been in my mind a lot is aging as a man, okay? Because you probably still don't even know how old I am, cuz, okay? But we, things change in men as you get older. You can't do the things that you used to do. The things that you want to do, it's in your head, but your body won't let you do it, and then you start to, compensate your own way, to do something to get by, and the reality in it is, if we're being allowed to grow old, we got to take it as wisdom and begin to share. We can't look at it as, hey, I can't do the things I used to do, but I can do something else though and still, help. I can still be effective doing something different. But it's been in my head a lot because there are things, and we had a snowstorm up in the Northeast this week, and shoveling snow was no joke this week compared to what we used to do. If you understand what I mean. So physically we're not able to do the things that we used to do. So it stays in my head a lot, about how we're going to be able to provide and be that, that rock in our family. You know what I'm saying? If you're not able physically to do certain things.
Thanks, cousin. I want to take the time, just a couple of seconds. Yesterday I had a major loss. One of my childhood friends, I've known him since I was 9 years old. We grew up in the Bronx together, and he was actually doing a family investment group, and he wanted to come in. He was on my last Zoom call that I had as a group. And yesterday morning, he went to the VA hospital, was trying to keep up on himself, and went to the restroom complaining of nausea and never came out.
Oh, man.
62 years old. So
Wow.
the brevity and the importance of life, fellas, taking care of your health, both mental and physical, is important, So to Leslie, man, we're going to keep up the good fight. He's a solid brother, a great friend, and you will be missed. So I just wanted to shout out my brother. All right. We're talking about what's been taking up the most space in your mind lately. Who else wants to share? Please, 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 please. Pat, I see you got... Go ahead, JG.
Probably making sure or knowing that and this pertains to work, knowing that I'm putting my best foot forward every day, because it's a struggle. It's not even so much a struggle of like getting up, going to work, but it's kind of that tug I used to have about being good enough, like when I was married, being a good enough husband to my now ex-wife. But now it's like, am I good enough as my student's teacher? And that has come up because we just did our mid-year testing last week. Since we came back from the winter break, and some of the scores that I anticipated weren't as good as I thought. Now do my best to take it with a grain of salt. And knowing that I have to trust myself enough that I have been doing enough, and it's up to them, even though they're 5 and 6 years old. And so it's kind of been a back and forth this week, looking at their test scores and talking about the data, and but I've gotten that reassurance from my teammates and even my administrators, like, you're doing a good job, like, but it's like,
Got you.
really, but it's like, I know that I am, and it's just sometimes certain things you feel like reflected, some things don't, but the thing that I know that I have to do, I gotta get up tomorrow and I gotta do it all over again. So it's just like, that's what keeps me going. Just doing my best to make the next day better than the last. So
Appreciate it, JG. All right, all the way from Mobile, Alabama, my brother, Levan, what brought you in and what made you want to check in today, brother?
Well, I thought, Brother Law, I thought this was a great thing, man, to join in with you, and this is really important. But first of all, the most important thing in my life is trying to help someone that's less fortunate, and because I got a lot of time on my hand, and I got some brothers that with me in the church, and they want to try to do some things like going boating, but just communing with others. Like you say, you're 61 years old and you're going on 62. Well, I'm going on 61, and I can't find nothing else better to do than to help someone else out. My children, they all grown. I lost my daughter about 2 years ago, and that was a big hard pill to swallow. But I still have a son out there, and trying to set an example for him. But that's really the most thing that really taking up space in my life, is trying to help somebody else, and I think that's the most thing that I want to do.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate that. All right, Rue, you got your hand raised? Go ahead, Rue.
I've been mulling over the question you had proposed to me when last we spoke about who am I outside of what I can provide. And that led me to a chain of questions I've been asking myself. And it led to kind of a revelation today that I don't know how to enjoy life outside of achievement. I don't know how to enjoy life outside of providing something to the people that I care about, which is how I ended up inadvertently validating my existence in a way. So what's been preoccupying my time is kind of like shedding those layers and getting down to the root of it all. I even thought about the things I used to enjoy when I was younger, and even then the thought of those don't kind of fill me with that sense of life or glee that it used to, you know what I'm saying? So now that I am where I am right now in life, with all the constant pursuit of achievement or bettering myself in some kind of capacity, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, I found out that without understanding how to have fun, I also don't quite understand what love means to me, right? Because when you're talking about love, when you talk about fun, that to me is very synonymous with love, because you're loving the moment, you're loving the experience of what you're having right now, which is what produces that fun for you, So I realized, at least for me, I don't know about the other brothers in here, but at least for me, it's almost like a twofold question. How do I achieve that childlike sense of fun in my present day without the performance of achievements or doing for others that I care about, while also simultaneously trying to understand what the concept of love means for me, and how do I express that for myself so that I can then embody that and express that more profoundly and more purely for others.
Hank Real, always deep, my brother, always deep. KJ, you had your hand up. What brought you to today's check-in, brother?
So, one kind of lately, been going through like, just in my mind lately, just mentally, thinking. So when I seen this, it was kind of like, yeah, I need to, see what somebody's talking about. And I heard somebody mention earlier that, it's kind of good for you to, to kind of hear from other people's sides. And, that way you're not in your head thinking like, oh, I'm going crazy and stuff like that. Because, everybody else has different stuff that they, go through and dealing with. So it's kind of good to hear that, you're not the only one that's dealing with those problems. And, that's what brought me here. And then to the answer to your second question that you recently asked is, lately, something that's been on my mind is growth and development. Just trying to grow as a man, grow as a better person. That I had Nolan. I got a son, and I'm soon to be married on February 14th. So that's another big stepping stone for me too. So it's me just looking at myself and judging myself as a person as I get older. A lot of people like to say, you almost 30, you getting older and stuff like that. And at first, I was looking at it like, I'm young, I'm still in my 20s. But then as I'm thinking, as I wake up every day, I'm sitting there like, dang, I'm almost 30. So it's kind of hitting me. And as I'm getting married, that's really, hitting me too. And as a man, there's so many expectations for us. Like, I heard somebody say that, you don't really get to, take the shield off. You have to, play that role pretty much the rest of your whole life. And so taking that shield off is like a weight. When you do get to, drop the shield down, it's like a weight off your shoulders and stuff like that. Another thing is, I don't feel as accomplished with my life. And I'm not saying that I feel bad or I'm going through mental things. It's just when I set goals for myself, and when I complete those goals, it's like the last person just said, you don't really get excited. It's like no room for excitement. Like, yeah, I may get an excitement, for a few seconds, but then it's like, oh, it's back to regular program. It's like you don't get to really, hold on to that excitement or accomplishment. So it's like I done came up here. My fiance, she graduated college from South Alabama, and the next day we moved to Birmingham, and I got up here. I didn't have a job. I found a job. Started off at temp service. $16. I noticed TMI, but I'm letting y'all know. Started off at $16, and then a year later, ended up getting hired on with the airport, and now I'm all the way at $25 supervisor lead position. But at the end of the day, I still don't feel accomplished. So it's another thing it's just one big thing that's on my mind. It's just, I don't know. It's like a puzzle that's missing. I'm missing that key, like just happiness. Not even saying I'm not happy. It's just, I don't get to hold on to that happiness.
Well, thank you. And it's my people are showing up. So I'm like, yo, I got to go to a wedding on February 14th. It's the same wedding. It's the same wedding. Thank you for sharing, KJ. Thank you for sharing. Mr. Jones, you had your hand up?
Yes, sir. Peace. Also, congrats, KJ, man. Congratulations on everything, man. You gonna be there, man. You gonna get there, man. It's just you're just going through your hero's journey. You know what I'm saying? This is even with my clients. I had when I was doing social work, working with different populations. Disability community. I did the veterans program, the homeless veterans program. I did that for a number of years here in city here in Chicago. And one thing I think we always sometimes when we give advice to people, we need to take our own advice, and that's almost it's kind of crazy sometimes. It's like I would even recommend sometimes get one of those little foldable mirrors and sit it on your living room table and talk to that person. And, I ain't saying you got to go as far as fix that person to play. I mean, that's when you got to call Dr. Gordon because you fixing the play. But yeah, I always I get that advice. I say, hey, you know what? Like for all of us, I don't know you all personally, but I always treat things like a sequel to the movie. And this is just whatever you're going through. This is Milton Part 2. Like this Milton Part 7, or this is Craig Part 6, or this is Paul or KJ, the remix. Like one thing is when you go see these movies, the superhero movies, the superhero gonna win in the end. You know it's gonna happen. But you go there to see the process, the middle. That's what makes the middle right there. You know what I'm saying? So, with that said, one thing that's occupying my mind the most is gratitude. Like, I gotta stay consistent with my gratitude. Just look at every day I wake up, I'll be like, all right, cool, I'm unemployed, I'm battling my